You wake up to the sound of wooden swords clashing in the training courtyard. Your first breath carries the scent of cherry blossoms, incense, and the sharp steel of katana blades. Your father isn't just any man. He's Lord Takeshi Minamoto, daimyo of Echizen Province, the descendant of legendary warriors who served the shogun for 8 generations, the master of 10,000 samurai whose loyalty is bound by honor and death, the keeper of Bushido traditions that define what it means to be Japanese. You're born into absolute honor, but that honor comes with absolute obligation. Your cradle is made of precious hinoki wood, decorated with the Minamoto mon that has adorned warriors' armor for centuries. But outside your castle walls, the world is changing faster than tradition can adapt. From your earliest memories, you're surrounded by the rituals of samurai life. Morning prayers to ancestors whose spirits guide your family's destiny. Evening tea ceremonies that teach patience and precision. Daily sword practice that connects you to warriors stretching back to the age of legends. This is your inheritance. This is the weight of carrying 800 years of samurai blood. Your childhood is spent in Edo Castle during the peaceful reign of the Tokugawa shogunate. The halls echo with the footsteps of samurai who no longer fight wars. The armory displays weapons that haven't tasted blood in 2 generations. The libraries contain military treatises for battles that no longer exist. Your tutors aren't just learned scholars and gentle monks. They're the last generation of samurai who remember when honor was earned through combat. Veterans who fought in the final campaigns that unified Japan under Tokugawa rule. Masters who understand that Bushido without battle becomes empty ritual. They teach you that samurai existence rests on 4 pillars: Ge, righteousness; Yu, courage; Jin, benevolence; and Rei, respect. But they also whisper that these virtues are becoming hollow when there are no enemies to test them against. Your father appears in your life like the rising sun illuminating Mount Fuji, magnificent in his formal court dress, terrible in his adherence to traditional discipline. When he holds audiences, every gesture follows protocols established centuries ago. His decisions affect thousands of families who depend on Minamoto protection. His words carry the weight of ancestral wisdom accumulated over generations. But you also see the melancholy behind his formal bearing. The weight of preserving traditions that seem increasingly irrelevant. The loneliness of commanding respect that's based on inherited status rather than proven worth. The gradual realization that the world no longer needs what samurai have always provided. Your father notices you struggling with the contradiction between samurai ideals and peaceful reality. He calls you to the ancestral shrine after evening prayers. You're 12 years old, barely understanding the complexities of honor without purpose, but his eyes hold the accumulated wisdom of warrior generations. He places his ancestral katana in your hands for the first time. "This blade," he says, touching steel that has served 8 generations of Minamoto lords, "has never been drawn in anger without cause. This soul," he says, indicating the spiritual essence every true katana possesses, "knows the difference between necessary death and meaningless killing. The greatest victory is the battle that ends without bloodshed. The truest strength is knowing when strength should remain sheathed." Your hands shake under the sword's weight. The steel feels alive with the spirits of ancestors who wielded it in defense of justice. You understand that you're not just holding a weapon. You're accepting responsibility for using power only in service of righteousness. Your education becomes systematic preparation for leadership that may never be tested by war. You learn swordsmanship from masters who've achieved technical perfection. Poetry and calligraphy from scholars who understand that warriors must cultivate beauty as well as strength. Economics and administration from advisors who manage domains that prosper through peace rather than conquest. Philosophy from monks who teach that true victory comes through understanding rather than domination. Your father teaches you that samurai leadership in peacetime requires different virtues than samurai leadership in war. Justice must be administered fairly when there are no enemies to unite against. Courage must be demonstrated through moral stands rather than battlefield heroics. Loyalty must be earned through benevolent governance rather than shared combat experience. You study genealogies that trace your family's service through 8 centuries of Japanese history. Each generation faced different challenges that tested samurai virtues in different ways. Each ancestor found ways to serve Japan while preserving family honor. Each era required adaptation while maintaining core principles. By your 16th birthday, you've mastered traditional samurai arts while witnessing their declining relevance. You can compose poetry that captures the beauty of transient moments. You can meditate until your mind achieves the clarity necessary for perfect action. You can draw your katana and strike with precision that would have impressed ancient masters. But there are no battles to fight, no injustices that require a samurai's intervention, no causes worthy of the ultimate sacrifice. Your first real test comes during a peasant uprising caused by rice shortages. Starving farmers have seized grain stores and refused to pay taxes. Traditional samurai response would be immediate, overwhelming force. Crush the rebellion, execute the leaders, restore order through fear. Your father gives you command of the response. Your first independent leadership role. But you propose something unprecedented in Minamoto family history. Instead of attacking the rebels, you investigate the causes of their desperation. Instead of punishing resistance, you address the conditions that created resistance. Instead of proving samurai superiority through violence, you demonstrate samurai virtue through justice. Your investigation reveals corruption among local administrators. Tax collectors have been stealing rice while blaming shortages on peasant laziness. Regional officials have been falsifying reports to hide their own incompetence. The uprising isn't rebellion against legitimate authority, but desperate response to systematic abuse. Your solution combines traditional samurai justice with innovative administrative reform. You execute the corrupt officials publicly, demonstrating that samurai law applies to everyone. You redistribute seized grain to starving families, showing that power serves the people rather than exploiting them. You establish new oversight systems that prevent future administrative corruption. The peasants return to their fields without bloodshed. The regional economy recovers through honest governance. Your reputation spreads as a samurai who uses traditional virtues to solve modern problems. But success creates new challenges that traditional samurai training didn't prepare you for. Other daimyo begin requesting your mediation in disputes that threaten regional stability. The shogunate notices your innovative approaches to governance and assigns you additional responsibilities. Your methods prove effective, but they require skills that previous generations of samurai never needed. Negotiation instead of intimidation, economic analysis instead of military strategy, long-term planning instead of battlefield improvisation. Your role evolves from traditional warrior to something new. A samurai administrator who uses Bushido principles to create just governance rather than simply maintaining order through force. The transformation accelerates when you're appointed to serve in Edo, the shogun's capital. The position represents the highest honor a provincial samurai family can achieve. But it also means leaving your ancestral lands to navigate the complex politics of the shogun's court. Your new responsibilities require different skills than ruling a provincial domain. You must balance competing interests among powerful daimyo families. You must interpret shogunal policy in ways that maintain stability without stifling innovation. You must represent samurai values in a government that's becoming increasingly bureaucratic. Your success in Edo comes from applying Bushido principles to administrative challenges. Righteousness guides your interpretation of laws and policies. Courage enables you to make unpopular decisions that serve the greater good. Benevolence shapes your treatment of subordinates and petitioners. Respect governs your relationships with colleagues and rivals. But the capital also exposes you to ideas that challenge traditional samurai worldview. Dutch traders bringing knowledge of Western military technology. Confucian scholars advocating merit-based advancement over hereditary privilege. Merchant families whose wealth rivals that of ancient samurai houses. Christian missionaries whose teachings question the spiritual foundations of Japanese society. Your most difficult crisis comes when the shogun orders you to implement policies that conflict with samurai traditions. New laws that reduce samurai privileges in favor of merchant interests. Economic reforms that prioritize trade over agricultural production. Administrative changes that promote talented commoners over hereditary samurai. Your choice shapes both your personal destiny and the future of samurai culture. You can resist the changes and preserve traditional samurai privileges at the cost of national progress. You can implement the reforms while working to preserve what's valuable in samurai culture. You can abandon Bushido entirely and embrace a completely new model of leadership. Your decision represents a synthesis that satisfies no one completely but serves everyone partially. You implement the shogun's reforms while arguing for modifications that preserve essential samurai contributions. You demonstrate that Bushido virtues can strengthen rather than weaken modernizing institutions. You prove that honor and efficiency aren't mutually exclusive when both serve legitimate authority. The compromise works better than anyone expected, but creates ongoing tensions. Traditional samurai resent your accommodation with change. Progressive reformers consider your concessions to tradition as obstacles to necessary innovation. The shogun appreciates your effectiveness but remains suspicious of your divided loyalties. You've become successful by becoming something that doesn't fit traditional categories. Your later years are spent training a new generation of samurai who must serve in a world their ancestors never imagined. Warriors who fight with pens rather than swords. Leaders who win through negotiation rather than intimidation. Servants whose loyalty is tested through bureaucratic competence rather than battlefield courage. The students you train carry samurai values into institutions that aren't traditionally samurai. Your influence spreads through disciples who apply Bushido principles to new challenges. Your example inspires adaptations that preserve what's essential while abandoning what's obsolete. Your legacy shapes the evolution of Japanese leadership during a crucial transitional period. You die peacefully in your ancestral castle, surrounded by family and honored by rivals. The funeral combines ancient samurai rituals with contemporary recognition of your administrative achievements. Warriors and bureaucrats attend together, united in respecting a man who bridged their worlds. Your death marks the end of one era and the beginning of another. Your gravestone bears inscriptions in both classical Japanese and contemporary administrative language. The epitaph captures your life's work. Here lies a samurai who proved that honor can evolve without being abandoned. Your sons continue your synthesis of tradition and innovation. They serve in positions that didn't exist when you were born, using principles you helped them understand. Some become military officers in armies that fight with modern weapons while maintaining samurai discipline. Others become civilian administrators who apply Bushido ethics to bureaucratic challenges. All carry forward your conviction that true strength lies in serving justice rather than simply preserving privilege. While the Minamoto family survives the transformation of Japan from feudal society to modern state, not by resisting change, but by demonstrating that samurai virtues can strengthen new institutions. Not by abandoning Bushido, but by expanding its application beyond traditional military contexts. Your great-grandchildren serve in a Japan that would astonish your ancestors, but would recognize the principles that guide their service. The katana you inherited hangs in a place of honor, undrawn but not forgotten. Its spiritual essence lives on in descendants who wield different weapons in service of the same ideals. The sword remains sharp not through use in battle, but through its role in reminding each generation that strength serves righteousness. Your legacy becomes a model for cultural preservation through intelligent adaptation. The proof that ancient wisdom can guide modern challenges when wisdom is distinguished from mere tradition. The demonstration that honor isn't about maintaining outdated forms, but about finding new ways to serve eternal principles.